the first time I've ever messed up a live. The first.
You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
In all the times we've gone live, I've never messed up until today. But I feel like there's a valid excuse. So much has happened over the past week. We've had like potential season defining injuries. Then Jalen Ramsey got hurt. Like, you see what I did there? You see what I did there? We've had
Hey, it's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. Hey, Flavor J in the building in the comments. IMAX is in the comments. We appreciate y'all. Everybody else in the comments. Listen, Kadeem, bro, you want to bring us in with an injury report?
It was. I wanted to show you. If you're watching on YouTube, co-host Kadeem Simmons looked like his season was over. Got got the little pinky bandaged up. Yeah, just at one point I thought that I couldn't continue with the season. Gonna have to, the sources were saying it was a 36 to 52 week injury. There was rumors that it was similar to the Will Fuller injury, where don't even know if I'm going to be able to return. But I made it. I powered through. I'm still day to day, but I couldn't leave my host, out in the dry basically. So
Listen,
I'm here.
Listen, for all the audio listeners, Kadeem Simmons has his 2 fingers taped up, his ring finger and his pinky finger taped in a splint, we call it. And we don't know what happened. We just know it was, he considers it almost career and season ending. I don't know how you have a season ending pinky injury unless you're in the game before the championship, like I was when I injured my pinky, but we won the championship. That's all I'm saying. So I don't know how a pinky injury would have took you out for the season, but I know somebody named Ronnie Lott who played for the 49ers and said, cut it off because I'm playing. But I'm just saying, you got to have that dog in you, Kadeem.
Listen, when I hurt the finger, I was like, basically, I dislocated my finger playing football or soccer, as the US fans say. It happened. I've done it before, so I'm like, listen, put it back in place, and I'll keep on going. All good. The referee was like, nope, you have to go to hospital. I was like, it's dislocated. I don't need to go to hospital. I'm all good. I was like, nope, we can't let you continue. So I went to hospital, got my x-rays, got my scans. I'm all good. Like I said, dislocation. I played football Monday night, a few days later. But shout out to Chris Taccone, who was on the show, I think 2 episodes ago.
I think it was the last
he
episode.
said he was
the last episode.
I thought we had an episode in between.
I don't know. Shout out to Chris though.
Yeah, shout out to Chris. If you haven't seen the episode, go check it out. He said on social media he was playing a softball game. He dislocated his finger, put it back in place, and then hit like a grand slam or something like that. Like that, to me, that's how you continue and you fight with your teammates through a finger injury. I'm just saying that's what I'm saying.
There's a difference. When I broke my finger, it was dislocated and broken. So I would have been messing around, popping it in place, and it would still been broken. Like that's why they have x-rays, but I digress. Jalen Ramsey gets hurt defending Tyreek Hill. Stop me when it sounds familiar, because some believe that Xavier Howard had groin injuries because he was guarding Tyreek Hill in practice. So now our DBs are going up against Tyreek Hill and getting injured. And we have lost Jalen Ramsey for the majority of the regular season with a torn meniscus. He's had surgery. It went well, but he's still going to be out a substantial amount of the season. Kadeem, what did it feel like, or how did you react to the news?
When it broke, I know you chatting to DraftKings Jay, and obviously social media, Dolphins community in general were just like, how bad is the injury? Is it contact? Is it non-contact? Is he walking? Is he not walking? Through social media, we learned that he basically was defending Tyreek Hill. There's some kind of collision. So at that point, it's like, okay, it's a contact injury, which makes it better than a non-contact injury. He was limping, then he was carted off. Shout out to former offensive lineman Mitchell Schwartz, who said that during training camp, preseason, all that kind of stuff, a player getting carted off isn't bad news. Sometimes it's the quickest way to get to the doctor's room, to the X-ray. So they use a cart as opposed to he said in a game, it's basically he said in a game, it's not. What are you gonna say? Sorry.
A player getting carted off is bad news, but it's not the worst news. You know what I'm saying? Because usually when you hear the terminology carted off, it sounded like you were going to in a game. Carted off in a game, it's super bad. But if you get carted off in practice, it's still bad, but it's still the fastest way to the doctors.
Yeah, and then as we learn, as you said, it's a injury which will keep him out they say until December. Jalen Ramsey said he'll be back, basically for the running. There's been comments and stuff since the injury where I believe Mike McDaniel said that Jalen Ramsey told him, give me the date that you want that I can return, I'll beat it by a month. So if it's December, he reckons he could be back by November. But it's also one of those things where, and I'm sure we'll get to it, as the show progresses, the way the Dolphin DBs have responded to this, they might be able to say, listen, you can take your time because we have you covered.
We don't need you back like in November. We don't need you to rush back and then not be 100% for the playoffs. All we need you for is the playoffs, bro. Because we're going to get there. We're going to set ourselves up pretty good. And that's when we need you to show up. And I got to be honest with you, bro. 20K Cam out here putting some stuff on film in practice. And I'm like, see, that's what I need from my second round pick on Touche's 24. 20K Cam out here diving, breaking up passes, all kind of smothering going on in practice. And I love to see it, bro. And speaking of another corner, Kader Kohu had the orange jersey. Kader Kohu had the orange jersey. What do you think Kader Kohu played, Kadeem, on his playlist? For those who don't know, if you're a Dolphin fan, you got the defense wears the aqua in practice, and the offense wears white jerseys. Quarterbacks wear red non-contact jerseys. However, the player of the previous practice, the best player of the previous practice, wears the orange jersey, an orange jersey. The only person on the field with an orange jersey because he's highlighted and he stands out. Not only does he wear this orange standout highlighted jersey, he gets to pick the playlist of the practice. What are we listening to at practice today? And Kadeem, what do you think Kader Kohu had on his playlist?
I remember seeing it, and because you asked, I'm going to get it wrong. I take it wasn't just your usual Future, Lil Uzi Vert, all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what you Americans listen to most of the time, so yeah.
Bro, when I seen the playlist, bro, I'm surprised we ain't have more fights that day, boy. I'm like, bro, this playlist is gonna get everybody in trouble, bro. This the playlist I would have listened to when I was like in my early 20s, but Kader Kohu's in his early 20s, so go figure. You feel me, man? It had all kind of Chief Keef, NBA young boy. I like, oh man, boy, somebody getting sent home today with this playlist. You know what I'm saying? This is the playlist that you start a fight with in the club, Kadeem.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental. Did you see what Raheem Mostert had on his playlist yesterday?
I remember one song, and only because it's my song, I rock with it. It's LB like favorite song in the world, and it was also on Tua's playlist when he had the orange jersey. It was "Return on the Mac." I love that song, bro.
Mark Morrison returned the Mac, and he also had Fireboy, DML, and Ed Sheeran. So I was like, yo, he's got some UK artists on there. That's pretty cool. Mark Morrison from, I think it's Leicester. I can't stand that song, but I can understand why it's very popular. And then there was another playlist which caught my eye. Friend of the podcast, Javon Holland. His playlist isn't out yet from what I can see, but he was the player of, he basically excelled in training, got the orange jersey. So yeah.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, you about to go to Kader Kohu. I was too. Like when I see, it was somebody on the playlist that I seen, and this is how I knew I had too many miles on me, Kadeem. I like who's G Herbo?
Who
I don't even know that's how you pronounce the name. That's how I knew I was too old, bro. I like, bro, you getting up there, boy. You getting up there, boy. Like you don't even know all the artists' names no more, bro. I like, oh man, this is bad. This is really bad.
G Herbo. Like I'm fact checking right now. G Herbo.
Bro, someone gonna clip this off, and this is gonna be like a meme forever.
So G Herbo, when I type in his name, first thing that comes up, G Herbo admits to $1.5 million credit card scam to finance luxury lifestyle, facing up to 25 years in prison.
Bro, oh man, yeah, man. Shout out to Kader Kohu with the ratchet of the ratchets playlist for the Dolphins, bro. I can assure you that there was no more like playlist as ratchet as that one.
Did you see what Katie Kohu said about the number 4 jersey?
I did. And, you know, if you're a fan of the Dolphins, you probably think about it. You probably thought about it within the first 5 minutes of hearing, oh, Dalvin Cook might be a Miami Dolphin. And then you thinking, well, who's number 4? You know what I'm saying? Like, what number is he going to wear? Is 33, 4? You know what I'm saying? And if you're a player on the Dolphins, you probably don't even think that. Like, why would I think about getting my jersey up? So it turns out Kader Kohu was talking to Cam Wolf of NFL Network, and Cam was like, yo, Kader, Dalvin Cook getting a lot of buzz. He might come to the Miami Dolphins. He was number 4. You're number 4. Have you thought about how much it will cost him to get number 4 off of you, or have you thought about wearing another number? And Kader Kohu was befuddled. Like, hey, I never even thought about that. Like, I had never crossed my mind. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And the thing is as well is that if you're a player, the least important thing you're worrying about right now is what number is on my jersey. You're thinking about, and again, Kader Kohu had an amazing rookie season, but the Dolphins also brought in Jalen Ramsey. So it's like, my place on this team isn't confirmed. We are probably 99.9% sure he's going to make the team. But he can't be up there going, do you know what number should I wear if I had to give up 4? He has a whole new defensive scheme to learn. And he's learned it really, really well because he's getting the orange jersey in practice. So, yeah, that's one of those things where, you know, for us fans, for us content creators, for podcasters, it's a discussion for us, for players. No, it's like we never said it earlier. Eli Apple is the quote unquote Jalen Ramsey replacement, and he's wearing 33, and Chris Brooks is wearing 33. Now everyone's like, Chris Brooks might not make the team because Eli Apple has 33. Listen, there's no guarantee that Eli Apple makes the team.
I got easy money bet of the week. Chris Brooks makes the team, has a better chance of making the team than Eli Apple does, bro.
Say it.
Eli Apple's trash, bro.
Exactly.
He's trash, bro. Like, listen, there's no way to he's trash, bro. I don't call nobody trash. You know, I might, he needs to work on it. He's trash, bro. So he's not Jalen Ramsey's replacement. He's like the 7th corner on the depth chart, and everybody else got bumped up one replacement. So yeah, Eli Apple ain't it. Unfortunately, he plays for the Miami Dolphins right now. It is what it is. But since we talk about jersey numbers and things that could happen and couldn't happen and stuff like that, Dalvin Cook went to visit the New York Jets. And I feel like we got a whole episode all of a sudden, Kadeem. You know what I'm saying? It's not even, you know, we had the little season where there was no football, and this is the NFL got preseason game this week. It's a preseason game this week. We back here. So Dalvin Cook goes to visit the Jets. They shot him out. All the fans going crazy for Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook left the Jets without signing, and something happened. What is the something that happened? Jonathan Taylor decides he's going to say, yo, I want to trade. Trade request from Jonathan Taylor, and all of a sudden, you know, Kadeem, I hit you up, I'm like, yo, Dalvin Cook's going to be on someone's team by the end of the week now because Jonathan Taylor's name is out there. You're not stupid. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna do what you got to do. So how does a fan think? Okay, if Jonathan Taylor comes to the Dolphins, he's going to want 28. A-Chain, what's the trade for Jonathan Taylor? So in my head, I'm like, all right, we could trade Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Cedric Wilson Jr., Braxton Berrios, and 2 third-round picks. So now 0 becomes available for A-Chain, 28 becomes available for Jonathan Taylor, and Kader Kohu keeps to keep number 4. That's what a podcaster thinks. You know what I'm saying? But you think they thinking about that? Absolutely not.
That's some Madden stuff. Like, kind of, you do the trade, then you go like to the edit screen. It's like, okay, hold on. Yeah, there you got your controller. It's like, okay, so yeah, what number's available? 24, all that kind of stuff. Jonathan Taylor, it's an interesting one because shout out to our social media team. Before we shout out our social media team, shout out to everyone in the comments, all the viewers. if you've made it this far, why wouldn't you have made it this far? Drop a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Comment. Let us know. Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, or keep what we have. Because that's what social media is talking about right now. A lot of people are saying you ride with Dalvin Cook. He's cheaper, I guess. I think that's the only reason, in my opinion, why you would ride with Dalvin Cook right now over Jonathan Taylor. If we jump in our time machines and it's 2020 and we are in the war room with Brian Flores and Chris Greer, and we get to pick 26, the Dolphins are 1 o'clock, and we traded back to pick 30, so 1 o'clock again with an extra pick. What we do is we say to Chris Greer, as he's about to call up and say, hey, we're picking Noah Benogany, say, hey, listen, hear me out. Pick Jonathan Taylor, because in 4 years' time, you might need a running back. And guess what? Jonathan Taylor is going to be available. So I'm sure if you speak to LB and yourself, this shouldn't even be a discussion right now. Should the Dolphins go and trade for Jonathan Taylor? Because he would be in his 4th year as a Miami Dolphin if things turned out differently. Me personally, and I've made the point as to why I probably wouldn't go for Dalvin Cook, and I'd extend Christian Wilkins and all that kind of stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of giving running backs contracts because you can find a running back in every single draft. I'd be leaning towards finding the money to give Jonathan Taylor because he's arguably the best back in the league. He's definitely top 5. I don't think many people would argue with that. And if you bring in Dalvin Cook, yeah, it's a probably 2-year deal, maybe 3-year deal. You got Jonathan Taylor 3, 4, 5 years, and I get it. You've got A-Chain, you've got to pay Wilkins, you've got to pay Waddle, Tua, all that kind of stuff. Guys like Jonathan Taylor don't usually come about. And you know what? Worst case scenario, you trade him and then you tag him next year and go, cool, whatever.
So, yeah. Go Time Dolphins' first podcast season was 2020. And it was post NFL draft. If we had this podcast for that draft, you guys would have heard me saying Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the draft class. Not Clyde Edwards-Helaire, not DeAndre Swift, although I would have took Swift. I still would like to take Swift. Not J.K. Dobbins, although I thought Dobbins was cool. You know what I'm saying? Listen. And everyone said, oh, he's not a receiving back. He can't catch. You could work on your hands. Jonathan Taylor is an incredible human being. Like, this man is the quintessential professional. You know what I'm saying? That's who Jonathan Taylor is. I've said it many times on this podcast. I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't be mad if Chris Greer did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't have made that trade for Devontae Adams and all that money and all them picks. I wouldn't have made that trade for Tyreek Hill for all that money and all them picks. I would just draft better because I know I could draft better. But I'm not mad that they did it. Look at the team that we have. It's the best team on paper ever in Miami. So I'm not going to be mad at that. There's multiple ways there's multiple directions you can take to get to the desired location you're trying to go to. So I'm okay with the route that we went for Tyreek Hill and the picks and the money and all that. I'm pretty sure I would be okay with Jonathan Taylor if they conjured up a trade to bring him to Miami. Now, what I would say is something that Sherrod Steve shared. He did have a lot of touches in college. They really did use him a lot in college. And he does have some miles on him, although he's only in his first year first contract in the NFL. So he does have miles on him. Like, you wonder, and I don't want to say you wonder how much tread is on the tires, but he was hurt last year. So now it's like, well, does he have 5 years? That the 5 years that Kadeem said? I don't know if he has 5 years at peak Jonathan Taylor, but he for sure has the next 2 years without a question. And that's the only 2 years we need from him, because that's when our Super Bowl window is. So if someone said we're going in this year and next year, which we already are, so you might as well bring in a Jonathan Taylor, you're not going to get no pushback from me. Although there are those who will bring up the last 10 years of Super Bowls and say, who was the running back on those teams? And they would have a valid argument. I'm just saying it's not like our O-line is the best in the league. So it's cool, but I wouldn't love it. But I would be happy as a Dolphin fan.
Yeah. Shout out to IMAX. He says, unfortunately, working, so I'm lurking. We still appreciate, like, obviously it's currently 9 p.m. UK time. It's what, 3, 4, 5, depending on where you are in the States and the world. So if you're working and you have us on like little like headphone thing, again, we appreciate that. Charlie, question for you.
Holla at me.
You said we only need Jonathan Taylor for 2 years, yeah?
Yeah.
And it will be similar to a Dalvin Cook 2 years.
Yep.
So you're Chris Grit. No, Chris Grit. You are Charlie Touche.
I'm Charlie Touche.
Dalvin Cook for the next 2 years or Jonathan Taylor for the next 2 years? Bearing in mind, Jonathan Taylor is probably going to cost you more money over those 2 years.
So we're considering the contracts and everything.
Yes.
And this is like a legitimate. So all right. Are those my two options, Jonathan Taylor or Dalvin Cook, or is there a third option of neither?
Yeah. The third option is neither.
My answer to this question, although it's not the popular opinion, I would stay with what we have. I would keep Mostert. I would keep Jeff Wilson. I like what we have in A-Chain, Touche's 24. But I also like the way Chris Brooks ended practice today. Chris Brooks, Charlie Touche's considered undrafted free agent to make the team, one of the two that he considered. Shout out to Alama Ulave. Follow me on Twitter today. We appreciate you, bro. Already. He was also one of my considered to be undrafted to make the team. Chris Brooks ends the practice with a 95-yard touchdown run. Come on, man. Give me all of that. Let me get all of that, Chris Brooks. So I think there's some. I cannot wait for preseason to begin. I need to see what Chris Brooks looks like in a uniform, not in a uniform, like running. So I'm staying with what we have. I gotta believe Brandon Jones. This is Brandon Jones' contract year. Like, there's a chance we lose Brandon Jones. Robert Hunt, contract year. You know what I'm saying? Connor Williams, contract year. That's 2/5 of the O-line. You know what I'm saying? Austin Jackson, friend of the podcast, contract year. That's 3/5 of the O-line. Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor. If we had those O-lines that y'all are running behind, maybe we just go, let's get a running back. But we don't have those O-lines. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, I'm not beating the drum for it. But if Jonathan Taylor becomes a Miami Dolphin in the next 2 weeks, I might have a Jonathan Taylor jersey. I'm just saying, like, so I'm not tripping. But the answer is neither. What's your answer?
I'm the same. I'm still neither. The Dolphins. People will make a valid argument that those kind of running backs, they improve the running back room, they improve the team. Like, I 100% get that. I still think money will be better served elsewhere because, like you said, 3/5 of the offensive line aren't here next year. So, and again, the ideal scenario is that you bring in Jonathan Taylor, we win the Super Bowl, and then you say to everyone, off you go, because we've got a ring. Like, you guys won a ring with us. If you want to stay on less money, cool. But if you want to go get the bag because you got the ring, cool. Brilliant. I'm still trying to find the money to extend Christian Wilkins. I'm still trying to find the money to extend friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt. I'm still trying to find the money to, because again, Tua is going to need extending. what, like.
Although Tua's on a 5th-year contract next year, so if Tua wins the Super Bowl or even makes the Super Bowl, one can argue that contract's getting done next year.
Yeah,
but if he doesn't, I think it lasts another year now.
Yeah, and that's a valid argument. And then, like you said, from what we are reading and hearing about training camp, again, it's only preseason. Happens when not just the party goes on, but you're playing other guys and stuff like that. The running backs at the moment look good. It seems like everyone is better adapted to this second season in this offense, and A-Chain's looking good. Mozart's looking good. Have you seen the clip? And shout out to Mr. Fanatic. He said, agree with Kadeem on spend money on priorities.
Dang, I thought Charlie Touche said that too. That's wild, bro. You couldn't agree with me too, though. No, that's wild. Shout out to Mr. Fanatic. Shout out to Mr. Fanatic.
Have you seen the clip during the rounds of Tua throwing a screen to A-Chain and he kind of like just runs up the field and
I didn't see it. I heard about it though. Shout out King of Finland.
Well, shout out to a friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, who was like, that ain't A-Chain. That's Sav, aka Savon Ahmed. So,
that was Savon Ahmed.
That was it's not even A-Chain. And again, we keep on having this discussion when it could just be an us thing, but when we're talking about Dalvin Cook and Jonathan Taylor and whoever it is, you've still got 2 running backs in the Dolphins room right now in friend of the podcast, Miles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed going, hey, we aren't going to give up our jobs easily. We are here to play. And anyone that makes the argument that says that Taylor and Cook are better than the guys you just mentioned, yes, we all know that. But the Dolphins like what they have. And we get into a situation where we wholeheartedly trust in what Mike McDaniel does on one hand, but then on the other hand, it's like, well, hold on. No, you got it wrong there and stuff like that. So, listen, shout out to Finn Selgate. I wish I was at practice. I'm watching it on social media, trying to get what I can. It hurts me that I can't be out there, with my fellow Dolphin fans, watching what just being in that atmosphere. The atmosphere looks amazing. The vibe looks amazing. The team looks amazing. But yeah, there's running backs who aren't going to happily roll over just so we can get Dalvin Cook and Jonathan Taylor.
In the rare appearance, the cameo that General Manager Chris Greer made on Sirius XM radio today or yesterday, I'm not sure what day it was. You never see Chris Greer in this light doing interviews and stuff that aren't NFL sanctioned interviews, like mandated. Chris Greer said exactly what you just said, bro. So I agree with Kadeem, Mr. Fanatic. Me too. He said exactly what you said, bro. He was like, yo, Cook is a great player, but we're happy with our running back room. And he basically went on to say everything you just said. And I also add this. He probably wanted to say, so unless he wants to come in at a lower price, we rock with him. But if he's not coming, we're not going to move people off our roster that we actually like because Dalvin Cook wants to come in here. But when you're talking about someone younger and Jonathan Taylor, now the conversation kind of changes. Because I think 28 out of the 32 teams would probably prefer Jonathan Taylor over Dalvin Cook. And I would say it lines up pretty well with the Dolphins because they need receivers over there. You got a Cedric Wilson, you can kind of, all right, well, you might as well take him. You got Braxton Berrios, you'd be like, all right, well, might as well take him. You have assets that you can trade Indianapolis along with a couple picks. A 3rd-round pick's not starting on this team next year. A 3rd-round pick is not going to start for the Miami Dolphins next year. So you can move it. However, you need that 3rd-round pick to be the future of the Miami Dolphins because you're not going to be able to afford everybody who's on the Miami Dolphins now. So you need those assets for your future, and you have to hit on them. So if you move that pick to acquire Jonathan Taylor, which would, in my opinion, cost 2/3, 2 third-round picks. I mean, you're probably just going to throw people in there just because you can. Like, you're probably going to throw one of the running backs in there. You're probably going to throw a couple receivers in there. If you do acquire something like a Jonathan Taylor, you understand when you win that Super Bowl, chances are you're going to look like the Rams did in the past couple years. It's just a reality, but you have a ring to show for it. Everyone's fear is that we don't get that ring to show for it, and we did all of this for nothing. But I'm telling you now, yeah, shout out to my dog Kadeem, the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl this season. Clip this. Charlie Touche said it.
Shout out to Liz. She says, good fin flipping afternoon, everyone. And yeah, again, like the video, share the video with your friends, with your family, with your loved ones. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Admitted Fanatic says it's worth it, Charlie. So, a few other things from me. What's the kind of been the one of the things what's one of the things you've been impressed with from what you're hearing coming out of training camp so far?
Let's see. I heard a lot about Eric Ezekama. I like that. I don't know if that's the thing that I'm impressed with the most, but I did. Oh, you know what? The defense been balling. I heard that. Yes. I heard that the defense has really been balling. I seen a couple Easy E clips though, and Easy E looks like a receiver again. Like, you know how he looks. He looked well in preseason. I'm curious to see what he looks like too. And for some reason, people have this misconception that you have to hit every single pick that you draft. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you had a 4th round pick that you spent on this running back to see, hopefully, that he could turn out to be something. But you didn't. If you miss on a 4th round pick, it's not the end of the world. And I don't even think Easy E is a miss. He just has all this competition in front of him. So I don't even think that's a miss. But the defense, I heard the defense has been balling. I actually seen the D-line balling, and you want a balance. You want the offense to win and you want the defense to win, but you don't want to see the D-line keep smashing your offensive line. So who said? Durham Smythe said the D-line is the best front 7 in the league. The Dolphins front 7 is the best front 7 in the league. I disagree, but it's good to hear. It's nice to hear it. But we can be, for sure, and we have options in the front 7. So I'm anxious, man. Like, we're getting close to the football season. Start getting the itch. Hall of Fame game coming. Zach Thomas about to get inducted in the Hall of Fame. Like, bro, I'm getting the itch, bro.
I think question from Liz, Charlie, will we be able to get to any of the practices?
I won't be able to get to any of the practices, Liz. However, I am going to the preseason Atlanta Falcons versus Dolphin game next week, Hard Rock Stadium. I'll be there for that. So I won't be able to catch any of the practices, but I will catch a game. And it's actually my first preseason game I ever went to as a Dolphin fan. Like,
that's crazy.
And it, like, bro, like I said, in it, like, boy, that's in it. So, yeah, my first preseason game ever, but I've been to tons of Dolphin games.
Moya TV says sup everybody. Sup Moya, appreciate you. I've got quite a few things, but I think the standout thing for me, or the thing I'll probably lead with, is some of the names that are being mentioned on the offensive line in a positive light. So we're hearing that Liam Eichenberg, we're hearing that no one talking about Liam Eichenberg, which is a good thing. He's not showing up in a negative way. He's winning his one-on-ones. He's like created some big holes at the run game, looking good so far. And that's what the Dolphins need. They really need. The Dolphins have been telling us, both Chris Greer and Matt McDaniel have been telling us, we believe in friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg. Mm-hmm. And what we're hearing so far in training camp is that you can see why the Dolphins believe in at least Liam Eichenberg. I'm not saying that Austin Jackson's being bad, but Liam Eichenberg's having a good camp so far. Hopefully that continues, not just into the preseason game, but into to games as well, because Isaiah wins around, who could take his spot. Connor Williams might get moved to left guard because, as you mentioned earlier, I will always pronounce his name wrong. So
Alama Olave.
Thank you very much, Charlie. He's getting mentions from media that he's having a good camp so far, doing really well at center. And the thing, again, we kind of discussed this when we drafted him or picked him up. If you can find a center and move Connor Williams back to left guard, it solves so many issues. Like, Connor Williams did come out and said that he's feeling right at home at center, like he's always played there. That's brilliant. That's great. Connor Williams might not be here next year. So if the Dolphins already have the Connor Williams replacement in-house already, that is brilliant. He'll be a rookie, so don't have to pay him too much. You can move things elsewhere. And to finish off the offensive line talk, with two more points. One, Teron Armstead has been activated off the PUP list. He was at training on Monday, but wasn't in pads. But brilliant, great, excellent. And apparently, friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt, is just mauling guys. He is doing brilliant. So again, it's only against our defense, but it sounds like our offensive line has taken the stride that we want to see in training camp so far. And again, it means nothing until the lights are on, but I'd rather be having this than about the Dolphins need to go and find some offensive line help, because the defensive line are completely obliterating them in the different practices and stuff.
Good thing is that our front seven is one of the best in the league. So you rather have it happen against us and not like somebody else. But bro, if you mess around and hit on an undrafted center and he starts, but I'd better never hear nothing about Chris Gray ever again. Like, ever. You drafting you finding undrafted centers and they're starting, and nah, bro, that doesn't happen. So hey, Alama Olave, holla at us. Is that how you pronounce your name? Like, if you could let us know, we would appreciate you. I appreciate the follow on Twitter today, man. We rock with you here on Go Time Dolphins, man. We're really rooting for you, and best of luck this season, bro.
Also, very quickly from me, did you see what Xavier Howard said about Noah Igbinoghene?
I did.
Your reactions, like,
come on, bro. We hear it every offseason.
I can say, you're not drinking the Kool-Aid, are you? You're not drinking the Kool-Aid, are you?
I don't say no. Hey, you heard what I said earlier in the podcast. Listen, I'm not in on the Noah Kool-Aid. I will politely decline to drink that stuff.
Again, I'd rather be hearing that than, he's getting torched. Although it was funny, or it was ironic, that after those Xavier Howard quotes went live, I think it was Chosen Anderson beat him deep for a touchdown. But yeah, it's training camp. Like, especially in one-on-one drills, the receiver's meant to win. Like, the defender had no outside help, so over the top help, no outside help. It's the guy on the island, and the receiver can do whatever he wants. So yeah, it's all fun and games until preseason starts and you are up against genuine dudes, I guess. But preseason starts in 2 days. We start in 10 days, and I cannot wait to see the boys back on the field.
The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town.
Yeah.
Hey, you know that song, Kadeem?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not all the time that you know something, bro.
I couldn't tell you sing. Hold on. I couldn't tell you.
I can't tell you who sings it either. The boys are back in town. The boys. I don't know. We'll find. We'll have the answer for you in bonus time. Who sings that song?
If you know, let us know in the comments. That'll be really
if you know who sings that song, let us know in the comments, please, and thank you. Let us know if you're and also if you're in the comments, let us know if you want Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, or keep the running backs that we have. Come on over to bonus time with us though. Y'all know what time it is. What happened?
I got it right. Yeah, cool. I'm good.
This guy. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
You got the name of it, Kadeem?
Yeah,
You got
Finn Lizzy.
Who?
Finn Lizzy. And I said Finn Lizzy. I was like, I didn't think it was Finn Lizzy, but it was Finn Lizzy.
You got it right?
Yeah, I said
Finn
Lizzy.
I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't even got that with multiple choice.
Yeah. I'm sure like a Drake or someone like, how can I know who Finn Lizzy are? I know of them, and it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got that with multiple choice.
So yeah, Liz says Jonathan Taylor. But Charlie, I've got a story for you.
Let's go.
So Friday, I'm at my work football tournament, and I'm chatting to a friend of mine, and we make an agreement that I was going to start something this week, and the hand injury prevented me from doing it. Charlie, this week I was going to start jiu-jitsu. I was going to go with my friend to start jiu-jitsu. I've had to put it on the back burner. I was like, no, what? I'm going to go see what it's like, see if I like it or not. But yeah, I've got to wait a bit. I've got other friends saying you can still do it. You know, with
I was about to say you don't really need all of your fingers to you don't even kind of really need your hands like that too much, because the hand locks that you do, there are only so many. So this is called a gable grip. That's a gable grip. You don't need your pinky for that. This is called an S lock. You're using more of your whole hand. You don't need your pinky for that. You'll be good to go. This is called a ball and socket grip. You got your fingers cuffed like a C grip, kind of, and ball and socket, right? Or thumbless. And this, when you wrap your thumb around, is called thumb full. So you actually don't really need your finger like that, because you got support of your whole, like your wrist and your hands. So if you're doing something with your fingers in jiu-jitsu, you're doing it wrong. But I'm impressed, Kadeem. I like it. Kadeem and jiu-jitsu. Listen, man, and I don't even have my own school, but I would like, I'm not selling nothing, but I do believe every single person in the world, male or female, should have like 2 weeks of jiu-jitsu and just watch how much it improves just your self-esteem, your awareness, a lot of things in life. So yeah, man, I would highly advise everyone, regardless of height, weight, age, or anything, gender, like 2 weeks of jiu-jitsu would change your life forever.
Speaking of jiu-jitsu, Tua Tagovailoa does jiu-jitsu. Still giving away this. I say still giving away. I will be giving away this Tua Tagovailoa trading card. I will say, if you have commented in the live of this video, you're automatically entered into the giveaway. Before the preseason review game with the Falcons one, I'll be giving it away. So if you comment on this live video, you're automatically entered. If you comment on any of the videos up until then, you're automatically entered. So to start commenting away, and then on the episode review, I will give it away officially. So hope that makes sense. Charlie, did you see what Tua said about jiu-jitsu and potentially avoiding a concussion thanks to jiu-jitsu?
I did not. I seen what Mike McDaniel said about it. I didn't see what Tua said about it.
So Mike McDaniel, so for those who don't know, Mike McDaniel said that there was a play in training camp where Tua kind of was pushed and kind of fell backwards, very similar to the concussion or the non-concussion he suffered against the Bills.
Buffalo, yeah.
The one which he was at the very least dazed, but there was no official concussion. So the same thing happened, but Tua, because of his jiu-jitsu training, kind of rolled backwards on like a somersault. Now, when I heard it, I was like, this is Mike McDaniel being Mike McDaniel. I don't think Tua Tagovailoa was doing somersaults out here and all that kind of stuff. But no, Tua kind of verified the story and said that, yeah, you know, the jiu-jitsu training kicked in. He said it's probably going to be like another year or so until it's like second nature for him. But for anyone who has never done jiu-jitsu in their life and tried to say that Tua learning jiu-jitsu wouldn't help him suffer less concussions, you've basically had your first example of it's going to, at the very least, prevent some concussions or some head injuries at the very least. Because it sounds like, yeah, by Tua learning how to fall, which is why he started learning jiu-jitsu, it's really helping out. Like, it's, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I was drilling in class with one of my training partners, and I found myself doing something I didn't even know I could do, like just off of reacting, and I like it was I was pretty impressed. I ain't gonna lie, I like, yo, that was pretty good, Slick. I was like, hey, it's paying off. But I gotta say this before we go, and I'm gonna just keep it simple. Stephen A. Smith, keep my coach's name out your mouth. That's all I got.